Good morning, gamers, and welcome back. So, we're back on our regular things. We're going to talk about some stuff today. We're going to talk about some more homebrew that I found on DnDBeyond. That's right. Today, we're going to talk about races. I am the AMDM Lee. This is my cup of coffee, and you're watching How Do You Want to Brew This? Oh, that's some good stuff. I love a good coffee. So, browsing around on DnDBeyond, I'm like, all right, so we're going to get back into our homebrew, looking at the homebrews and such. And I found one that looks interesting. It has been voted up 228 times and voted down 12 times. So, in other words, this is the highest rated class on DnDBeyond. I'm sorry, not class. This is the highest rated race on DnDBeyond. So let's take a look here. Mousefolk. The Mousefolk have a deep love of art, literature, song, and craft, and will often spend a lifetime perfecting their trade. True masterworks are rarely seen by the outside world. Instead, they are preserved and passed through the generations. To be a keeper of lore and heritage is among the highest honors and greatest responsibilities of Mousefolk culture. The Mousefolk who do not end up learning a trade will often put their skills in pursuing esoteric knowledge, training as defenders, spiritual leaders, rangers, covert agents, and they might even travel the world as an adventurer for hire. Which is kind of cute. So, just your typical background: virtuous, headstrong, character race, mouse trait folks. Mouse folk traits, not mouse trait folks. Sometimes they get words, they swap, they do these. So, the Mousefolk character has a number of traits in common with other Mousefolk. Well, obviously, they get a +2 to Dex, or their Dex score increases by 2. They're proficient in perception. They're proficient with a rapier, short sword, short bow, and hand axe. And when attacked by an attack of opportunity, you can reuse your reaction to oppose disadvantage on that attack. You can read, speak, and write common and squeak. I guess squeak is the Mousefolk language. So they can speak with common to converse with people whose land they dwell and throughout their traveling. Meadow Guard Mousefolk. As a Meadow Guard Mousefolk, you live in the wilds. On the edge of civilization, you're the first eyes, the last stand between. So basically, you become your wisdom increases by 1. You gain advantage on saving throws against being frightened. Through sounds and gestures, you can communicate with small or smaller beasts. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know how you would roleplay that with I guess because you are a beast creature. And then you have the Softpaw Mousefolk. You avoid the dangers of the untamed wild for the security of civilization. Bookish nature gives you an edge on arcane studies, tradecraft, and skills. Intelligence is increased by 1, and you are proficient with 1 type of artisan tools or musical instrument. So all in all, this is a really nice little addition to the overarching world. Um, excuse me. So you have just talking mice, basically, which I think could lead to a really interesting campaign. Maybe a side note to a campaign. Say you're running, like my Bridgewater Knights. So these guys are in Bridgewater most of the time. These could be the Mouse Knights of Bridgewater. You know, you could run all right, guys, let's do something different. I want to run a little thing, you know, take a break or have somebody else run. You could stay within the same town. You could have the same events going on, but now you run it from these mouse folk perspective, which it does not give the size of the mouse folk. So that's different. So that's something to consider. How big are these mice? They're not like were-rats. Oh, here we go. Here we go. That should have been... Your size is considered small. 2 to 2.5 feet tall and about 25 pounds. Okay, so you're on par with other small folk. So you're not too far off from halflings and things like that. So, maybe not quite as interesting as I thought it would be. Because I just imagine, you know, like mice-sized adventurers running through a castle while the castle's at war with somebody else, and there's another sub-little adventure going on. So like your players are doing this one thing, and then you take a break, and then you have the mice run through, and you see them looking over. You describe the battle that your players did the week before, and how it's affecting this mice combat stuff. So it could be interesting. I think it would be fun. It could be interesting, but now that you put them at 2 feet tall. Let's about that tall. It's not very big. About the size of a easily overlooked. A little bit larger than a halfling and a gnomes. So it would definitely make for an interesting character. I wonder how a tabaxi would feel about them. Mortal enemies. I might introduce one of these to see how my tabaxi handles it. He's not over there. That's where he normally sits, though. So that's an interesting thing. So that's kind of cool. I might introduce this. I do like the concept of it. So I will be voting this up because I do like it. So it's now up one more, and I'm going to add it to my collection. So now my players have an option, given more options. That is what I love about D&D, options. So now we've looked at the best race. So let's take a look at the worst race. Okay. I did very little search because for some reason the rating button has disappeared. But I just, doing a quick scroll through, I found what could possibly be the worst rated race that I have seen. I hadn't even read into it yet. So we're going to see what it's all about. Maybe help a brother out too. You know, I'm a generous man. If I like something, I'm going to vote it up. So let's see how bad this thing goes. And I want people to... So what we're looking for is the Aasimar Vailoka. The race is half Aasimar and Vailoka. They are known for their unnaturally attractive as well as their strength. Aasimar and Vailoka carry the traits of both races to make a formidable formidable and intelligent people. Aasimar Veloka are primarily misspelled of noble birth with very strong family ties. The race's average lifespan 200 years, physically similar to humans with insightful and magnetic personality, capable to cast supernatural light. They have a celestial and vampiric heritage. They have slightly larger canines, but unlike Velokas, Aasimar Velokas are not undead and do not drink blood. However, they keep most of these characteristics. The Aasimar, I'll have to go look up that. Inherit some spiritual strength and charm of the Veloka. Their blazing speed, 7 square base movement, which is 35 feet. In addition to being hard to sneak up on, they can forsake their class-based utility powers and instead take racial powers that further draw upon their heritage. Okay, that's interesting. I like that. I like that idea, but that kind of gives them more. That instead of taking a class power and being able to draw upon a racial ability, that reminds me of the Rifts game, the Palladium Megaversal system, which I love. The Rifts game, the Palladium Megaverse system. I've played a lot of it, a whole lot of it, but it is so many. It's full of so many loopholes and things that it can be nasty. So, but that reminds me of the the RCCs, racial character classes, where it's a specific race, but they don't have a character class. They have a racial class that they gain the abilities from their race, and it's a playable racial thing. D&D doesn't quite have something like that because their racial stuff is usually boiled down into something minor, where you gain all of your abilities from a class. So this is definitely interesting. Here's where I see one of the problems right here to begin with. The problem I see is in the amount of junk they get. +2 to charisma, +2 to strength, +2 to dexterity, +2 to con, +1 to wisdom, +1 to perception, and +1 to stealth. That is too much for a first level character. Traits, dark vision. Okay, I can get that. Celestial resistance. Okay, healing hands. Now you're starting to throw in too much. Necrotic resistance, lifeblood, a blood bond. A shimmering glow is a requirement. You have to have 1 healing surge remaining. Now, are these the traits they're talking about? When you get, in fact, the heritage, they can forsake their powers and take racial powers that further compile a natural vitality. Okay, there are. This is, I actually like the concept behind this. I do like the concept behind it. I think as it would have to be play tested out a little bit more. I would like to add it to my thing, but I don't want my characters to have my players to have access to it until I've play tested this a little bit or tweaked it. So I have to ask you guys, how would you tweak this? It's an interesting thing. I'm going to go ahead and add it to my collection, but I'm not going to vote it up yet. It is extremely strong. There's just a lot of stuff found on it. So it needs to be updated, to be honest with you. But that is all I'm going to do. How would you update it? How would you change it up? Would you consider this class to be something you would add? Leave a comment down below. Email me. I don't care. Just talk to me, people. Talk to me. I like a conversation. I'm a good conversationalist. That's all I've got for now, guys. If you like these videos, please click on the like button, which could be somewhere. I don't know where they're at. If you think someone else would like the video, please click on the share button. Every like is an inspiration. Every share is an advantage. And every subscription is an experience point. Help me gain 300 experience points so I can get to second level. And as always, for every video that you share, the AMDM does hereby authorize you, the viewer, to gain 10 experience points. Just tell your DM the AMDM said so. And that is all I have for now. So go forth and roll some dice. Now. No, now. Go play Dungeons and Dragons.